All opinions expressed in the video are my own. Viewer discretion is advised. Time to grow up, time to face beyond what you see, your karma. I feel like Whitney Houston is a great example of fate and destiny. I'm gonna heal no matter what, no matter what happens. Complex, multi-layered person in front of us just by looking at the ascendant on its own. Okay, we are recording and this is a new video. I'm happy to be back. You're with Allah and we're looking at astrology natal chart of one and only, the greatest of the greats. In my opinion, of course, Whitney Houston. And before we start, I just want to give you a heads up that this is my personal interpretation of the natal chart, and I will be relying on my visions, my imprints from learning about Whitney and her life through the books written by her mom and by her friend Robin, and very close friend, and also from just being exposed even as a kid to her beauty, art, music. And I remember that when I for the first time saw I Will Always Love You music video, I on a soul level, I mean, I didn't even know about soul levels at that time, but I was like definitely feeling stuff very vividly. And I remember my thought that I was like, okay, this world is worth it because of this. I don't know. I had only this once with Show Must Go On song, Freddie Mercury singing on stage, and I remember I was like, wow, this world is worth reincarnating to because of this. And same was with Whitney. So this reading is close to my heart, and all opinions expressed in this video are my own. And let's begin. So we're gonna look at her astrology chart, natal chart, which is like imprint of the sky at the time of birth, and the vector of me looking at it is evolutionary, meaning from point A to point Z, as a soul, as a human being, as a spiritual being. We're gonna just look at what she was born with in terms of what was the task at hand, so to say, and then we're gonna look at a very important date in her life, which was the date of her marriage. And also we're going to look at the last day. And I mean, the more I look at charts and the more I just analyze things, I feel that the concept of fate and destiny and all these things just keeps getting more and more and more solid in my experience. So I feel like Whitney Houston is a great example of fate and destiny. So the first thing that I see when looking at Whitney's chart is that she has Chiron on her ascendant. And there's always something with this ascendant. I swear to God, every single video that I have made so far is involuntarily starting with the ascendant. I mean, yeah, of course, it's a great place to start because it is the point zero of our chart. It is that sunrise time, which is the beginning of the beginnings, right? The beginning of everything. And she has Chiron, the wounded healer asteroid, in out of all signs, Pisces, meaning that she is an artist. There is this concept in relation to Chiron that it is corresponding to our ability to heal within, to heal our body, our spirit, when all the odds are against us. Sort of like rising up to the challenge of, I'm going to heal no matter what, no matter what happens. And Pisces is that collective subconscious archetype where there is everything, but because there is everything, how do you know what is the purpose of it? It's so big, bigger than the ocean. And that was paired with the healer, the wounded healer energy in Pisces is what hit Whitney's body as soon as she was born. The first energy, the imprint, the blueprint, and it encapsulates all of her victories, magic powers, and also the downfall, which is the well, you know Whitney's story, right? The downfall of hers was that sensitivity, unregulated, and the outlet was the so Chiron in Pisces in the first house on a rising sign is just she could have been one of the most, I feel like, I mean, it's not like she could have been. She actually was one of the most powerful healers on earth at the time when everything was going for her. But knowing her story, the began in her teens. The journeys, the two parallel journeys of healing and wounding oneself were parallel to each other. So we already have a very changeable and adaptable and flexible and complex, multi-layered person in front of us just by looking at the ascendant on its own. But of course, we don't look at charts in a Frankenstein style. We put it all together, and this is what this video is going to be about. Looking at Whitney's astrological dignity. And of course it's an analogy. But if I'm gonna see a good planet with a good dignity, meaning that it is located in the house or in the sign where it loves to be, where it is its home, I'm gonna let you know. All right, so what comes straight after that? Let's just hop from related links, because in astrology things are very much so related. You can see it's a circle, like, you know, like it's one big, very, very, very complex chart she has, and it's some charts are more chunky, I call them. Some other charts are very minuscule and the details are very fine, and you have to really zoom in and really decipher the meanings. But I feel here it is complex and simple at the same time. So let's dive in. Chiron in Pisces is retrograde as well, meaning that whatever was happening with that healing and then non-healing and troubled with true artistry and making aspects as well over here, as you can see, to Neptune in Scorpio in the 8th house. Oh my goodness. And also to the North Node in Cancer. Everything about her was this constant diffusion of self in order to see what's beyond that, but also the feelings, the sensitivities. Oh my God, the letting go, not wanting to let go, facing your pain, sharing pain, taking pain on yourself. all of these watery sign feels and themes, Neptune trining, like when she would enter the room, you would not know how to read her. You would only see that maybe Sun in Leo part, but you would definitely sense there's an ethereal quality, almost goddess-like quality, but it makes it so relatable because it's very down to earth. It's not that perfect. It's not supposed to be perfect. It's the emotion, and the emotions can sway us in all the different ways, and sometimes you don't want to go there, but it takes you there. As her mom was a big influence on Whitney, she would be saying this famous phrase, sing with your head, sing with your heart, and sing with your gut. And this wholeness, this like journey to being whole is what was Whitney Houston's maybe even sole purpose. Becoming one, merging with oneself in whatever state you are, and sharing that God-given gift, but only thing that's left is that feeling, that pain, and that high, that transcendental high. But again, as we know, when things come to Neptune city, all of that can be projected or masked with something similar, which could be a different kind of high. You know what I mean? Complex already. Complex already. But let's just acknowledge that when you hear Whitney singing, you feel things, right? Well, that's what it was all about. Also, I want to point out this theme of sacrifice. The sacrifice of yourself to your craft. So that's what also was that. Merging, diffusing, washing out. Maybe that's why, like, I mean, not maybe, she said this. Like, I didn't belong to myself. My life was a life of a star. I had all these responsibilities. But what, I mean, I wanted to do other things. But I had to sacrifice my desire so that I could perform and really share my gift with the world. And that's what probably drove her to the using even more. And let's see where this takes us from here. So Chiron is opposing, all right? Two interesting oppositions. And you guys look at it. It's like we've got a cross here. So one, Chiron in Pisces is opposing Mercury, dignified Mercury in Virgo. And Mercury in Virgo means that she had really active, jovial, inquisitive, quirky mind, the way she spoke, and she really wanted to connect. Mercury is at home in Virgo. It's as quick, it's really sharp wit. It's a little bit more, because Mercury has two signs it feels at home at, two domiciles. One is daytime and one is at nighttime. Daytime Mercury is in Gemini and nighttime Mercury is in Virgo. So it's like a little bit more convoluted and a little bit more introverted, however, not to the point where it's like, you know, isolating and ostracizing. But no, it was in the seventh house, and the seventh house of relationship. She loved friendships, she loved relationships, she loved talking and chatting and listening to music and being active and all these things. But it is opposing that Chiron, so the mental thoughts that Whitney had always had this Chiron, the wounded healer. Are you good enough? Are you good enough? You should be on the same platform as the saints, as the greatest of the great. Are you that? And Pluto on top of poor little Mercury. Pluto is the godfather of the underworld in Virgo, and it's generational. I mean, anyone in her decade would be born with that, but didn't help the self-criticism, didn't help the little details annoying her, and even like, am I good enough? And this is a wound. This is the wound. The wound of Whitney Houston lies in her mind. So whatever happened in that hotel room on her last day, we're just going to have a look at it, was related to that constant void feeling, the void. We will get to that. We will get to that. But already I can see that there is a cognitive dissonance happening here. Me versus others. First house is me. Seventh house is others. Am I good enough to be in this room with these other people who I love? I need to do better. Do I want to? And another interesting thing here, because, okay, well, let's look at normally the Virgo archetype is related to the sixth house, and she has her Sun and Venus in the sixth house. And this is her star quality. Like, you wouldn't even know, like, whatever I said previously, you kind of would like, yeah, I get that. But what comes to the forefront is her dignified Sun. Sun is at home in Leo. That's just the bright light you see straight away. And then if you really go into the detail and really dive a bit deeper, you see all those nuances. But like the shebang, that's her Sun in Leo. She is larger than life. It's all happening. Everything is on, and it's classy. It's Leo. It's not. She even if she wore, I don't know, pink Ugg boots and juicy couture, kind of like LA fashion, I don't know, Paris Hilton style, she would still make it look expensive. You know what I mean? It would still be looking good. And of course, the disheveled Whitney we remember from the tabloids, that was because there was such a before and the after. That was like a fall from grace, it would seem. But you still know who that is. There will be never another Whitney. You know that. And it was just, the word shame comes to me. The higher you fly, the lower you fall, right? And the word shame. And guys, we just looked at the opposition, Chiron in Pisces opposing Mercury, right? That's a big, big, big opposition here that we need to pay attention to, especially with Pluto involved. Death and rebirth, transformational Pluto in Virgo. It's gonna be like criticism to the point where you eat your own bone. And this bigger than life Sun conjunct Venus, so it's just everything she loved was about these heartfelt, sensitive, Leonian, loyal, grandiose, passionate, real things. And all of that in the sixth house, the house of work, the house of everyday life, the house of routine, related to this Mercury, related to Pluto. And Uranus is not far from there, so it's very erratic lifestyle. That Sun is opposing, kaboom, Saturn in Aquarius, in the 12th house, that is in conjunct her North Node in Cancer. Saturn in Aquarius in the 12th house is the void of cold, shiny bathroom tiles that are never ending. Everything is made out of white bathroom tiles. Everything is white. It goes forever. You can't do anything. Restriction. The void. Emptiness. And you are this living heart, beating heart, juxtaposing that void. I'm using bathroom tiles because that's Aquarius. It's a very it's an analogy, it's like a metaphor, the bathroom tile, the snowflake, like a snow ice queen's castle where everything is taken care of, but you forget the things you love. Whatever she wanted to do, there was this background restrictive vibe about it. It was never good enough. Never good enough. Come on, man. You're a Whitney Houston with the most amazing vocals that ever lived. Like ever touched the hearts of humanity and might never be the same one or even close. What the hell is your problem? Well, that's Saturn in Aquarius in the 12th house. Retrograde. My. And it was also the fueling power of her getting that good. Her training, that training that she had with her mom, that legacy. That's the good part of that Saturn here. But the negative part is, even when she was disconnecting from that beating heartbeat of herself, it was like, I still feel what I'm doing, and what I'm doing is not right. She knew that. So it was not reckless. It was more, I know what I'm doing and I'm choosing to do it anyway, no matter what you say. So all that strict upbringing, it was not like super strict, but like the work ethic and all those things, she took it to the next level, okay? And every coin has two sides, so that's what was going on. Okay, let's continue. So the North Node is in the 5th house in Cancer. Simple language means your soul will be growing when you have a family of your own, you do what you want, and you have children. That's just very squarish way to decipher this. And it is trining Chiron, as we know, so healing yourself, taking care, being gentle. There's always a different way to look at every single thing in astrology, at every single aspect. It's like UV to infrared, and it takes really your intuition skills if it's a right brain style. And if it's a left brain style, you just have to know so much to be able to predict and to be able to know exactly where on the range you are in relation to everything. Of course, for me, as I'm a right brain person, I rely on my intuitive skills and on my artistic style, giving a bit more of a sensual, visual, touchy-feely imprint. But, when you have data, you can always make logical conclusions. Wait for it. As we were talking about the sun, dignified sun, my dignity, they never took Whitney's Dignity, as she sings in the song, The Greatest Love of All. That song was playing at my wedding, and I chose that song because, you know what? We're getting married, we are a couple, but no one ever will take me from me, my dignity from me. And that was probably constant theme with Whitney, as we have the Sun squaring Neptune, and the Venus is also squaring that Neptune. So as you can see, and Neptune in the 8th house, the house of merged assets, shared resources, the house of empowerment and powerlessness, Neptune was washing that out, trining the Chiron here, as we spoke about it previously. So we already have a chain reaction of self-worth versus whoever is sharing life with Whitney, whoever is sharing assets with Whitney. We know that her dad, wanted to have a piece of her pie in terms of financial gain and all that. Like, that's that Neptune here, that little thing that just goes out of the woodwork. Neptune is not going to show its face until you are able to see the face of Neptune. It's not gonna be there until you're ready. It doesn't really care. You know what I mean? So that story swept her way down, constantly reminding her that, you know what, with all your greatness and all those things, imagine having a feeling like that, like you are great, you are a star, you're beyond, you're in the stratosphere of fame. Everything you have is there. But you still know that you're not a saint. You're not perfect. You're still human. You still struggle. You still experience pain. You still have relationship issues, family issues, health issues, addiction issues. Humbling is really mildly putting it. It's a lot. For one woman to go through, a lot. However, what was helping her, thank God, was Sun, Trine, Moon, and Jupiter. So she felt good when she did, and when she didn't feel good, the daredevil energy of that Aryan Jupiter, that, like, boys, let's just party, let's go, let's exert ourselves, and let's have fun. We live once, and this is my life, and I know that I can't do everything I want, but I'm gonna do what I want, and you can't do anything about it. It was not really reckless, but it was that fuel that kept her distracted from all those, like, big, huge, slow-moving planets, the clouds hanging over her. She was living in the moment, larger-than-life personality. When she was on stage, she was really happy. She wanted to shine, and when she was having fun, she was really having fun, and we live in one day, and that's probably how she went by. It's just the accumulative effect that caught up on her, and on February 11th in 2012, she passed away because it was just one little thing too many. And this is what we get with the Jupiter, the planet of expansion, merged with the moon, the feelings. It's in Aries, trining the fire sign, trining, which means another fire sign, harmonious energy with that sun. Venus is a little bit burnt out by the sun. The measurements and the strict stuff and the transformative thoughts, the self-criticism and all that, it's sort of like a gravitational pull and push between the two states, the state of a happy-go-lucky star with everything is done for her. All she has to do is really rock up on stage on time and be like looking okay and singing all right. But all that responsibility and the feelings and the indescribable beyond conscious stuff was just maybe the mold she tried to break through that optimism, through that fire over here, and that meant that she had to seek highly stimulating substances to punch through that veil of uncertainty and just being hard, just being hard on herself and just being feeling ostracized. Because when you are that famous, it's a very lonely place, and that is that Saturn in Aquarius. Even though everyone loves you, everyone is a nobody to you. You don't know these people. What's the point? All right, and last but not least, we have already covered mostly everything. Just wanted to look at her Mars and Juno conjunction here, like loose conjunction, but still in the seventh house. So she was all about relationship, and she wanted to serve her husband or her lover and be that wonderful harmonizing peacemaker. She didn't like conflict. The only conflict she had was with herself and with that restrictive, encapsulated world she lived in. And that meant for her that, like, I want to transcend this, but how do I do it if everyone pushing and molding and trying to kind of mold something out of her connection with the universe, connection with the higher self, connection with God, connection with everything out there. But like that Saturn there, she was really good with faith, Jesus girl sort of thing, and that was her discipline in a way. No matter like if she even did drugs, she still was a believer, and that was kind of that complex character that we have already here. That is not just one straight line, with Whitney. Let's quickly have a look at her marriage to Bobby Brown. And look at that, guys. We have first and foremost Jupiter represents the husband in woman's chart, and also Saturn sometimes. So look at that. Jupiter at that day, 18th of July 1992, Jupiter is on top of her Mercury. So, ooh la la, that expansive energy, even though Jupiter is not really dignified in Virgo. I mean, if Jupiter was on the opposite end over here, it could have meant that she would be really healed in this relationship, like hands-on. But tricky situation. Jupiter is conjoining her Mercury and opposing her Chiron, that wounded healer, that artist. So now we have an artist, and now we have husband opposing. That something has to give. And all of that criticism on that side over here is now merging, like working together with that Jupiter. You know the story. I'm not saying Bobby Brown, whatever, I am just talking about archetypes. And of course, it's individuals' responsibility to take care of themselves, right? No one is going to feed you with a spoon if you're an adult. Just multiple things happen and, they shape who we are, but they should not define who we are. And here we have a little bit of the influence on the way she thinks, what she's thinking about, and God knows, maybe that Pluto was getting activated there. That Pluto, the transformative thoughts. So, of course, Bobby Brown was the catalyst for transformation here. But it was meant to be because we have the North Node, the vector of soul's development. Whitney's North Node is in Cancer, and we have Sun in Cancer at the time they were getting married. 5 degrees difference, not that much. So it was her guiding star towards her life of having that family, enjoying that, loving that. But also actually didn't mention that this Cancer North Node is squaring that Jupiter, that, all right, guys, let's go. You know what I mean? Let's go. Let's do it. Squaring that. So already we see like this thriving big personality that does what they want, like used to that. But yeah, of course they were like a good girl complex and, have to sing from the heart, from the head, from the gut, this and that. Disciplined. But like, I just wanna, girls, I just wanna dance with somebody. She would have to learn how to balance those desires and how to serve the interests of her most internal emotional currents. Learning how to discern, how to separate, not how to merge things even more, because that's where she obviously had troubles, but how to simplify and separate. Guys, that like I remember we spoke about the bathroom tiles, the never-ending tunnel with no light at the end, designed with the bathroom tiles and this. That's Saturn on top of her Saturn. So she was getting married at her Saturn return. Time to grow up. Time to face beyond what you see, your karma. Like, this is it. This is the karma. And the ruler of Aquarius is Uranus, and it's right there on Mercury. So already I'm telling you, and of course we have Black Moon Lilith there, right there in Aquarius as well. What I'm saying, what I'm seeing is that it whether can go really, really good, or it can be sporadic, erratic, up and down, back together, on and off. The consistency is the clunky dough. Clunky. It's got little clunks. You don't know where they're gonna be, and you don't know what, like the texture is not smooth. It's not. It was not a smooth marriage, obviously, no. On top of that, just to be around the same area, the ruler of Capricorn, Saturn rules Capricorn. In the ancient astrology, Saturn also rules Aquarius and Capricorn. South Node in Capricorn, everything about the career, everything about like responsibilities beyond yourself, like world stage sort of thing, because she was supposed to be all about her, all about her children, about her. As soon as she had her daughter, I feel like she should have just stopped and just really focused on her health, her daughter, and what she wanted to do. Full stop. But the machine was already spinning, the was already unfolding like crazy, and the whole house of cards was crumbling. So we've got Neptune on top of her south node, not good, and also right there is Uranus on her south node. So whatever that south node is holding, that south node is full of karmic memories, DNA memories, a lot of things that we don't even know are there, but they're there. So definitely a karmic relationship with Bobby Brown for Whitney. And I have huge respect for any karmic relationship whatsoever, even if it goes good or goes bad. It's all just subjective, because we still learn and we still get shaped by the experience. So I don't shun any karmic relationship, actually welcome them, and because we are transcendental beings, we still take karmic relationships as gifts in our karmic bag and be like, look, I went through this. So that's definitely karmic relationship. The place of undoing all the crap. It was a beautiful day as well for Whitney because we have a wonderful Leo party over here. A message about her, how beautiful she is, healing. You see, Chiron was in Leo right on top of her Venus, healing that relationship, Venus's relationship, healing those feelings, desires, and Venus was returning as well. So it was a mixed bag, right? We it was like the stepping into the unknown, but you know that it's going to be massive and it's going to transform how you think and what you do. And because she already has that desire to be paired, that was just like, oh gosh, this Bobby Brown, he is my man. I don't care what you guys think. And yeah, of course, the Mars was conjoining Juno. You see, the Mars is with Juno here, Mars is with Juno in Taurus. So a beautiful, lovely day. But like the next chapters are gonna be all about things you don't know are there, and they're gonna go even more highlighted. Last but not least, Whitney's last day, 11th of February 2012. Now, look, again. 2 days ago, she was singing Jesus Loves Me, and that means that Sun was on top of her Saturn. So that that to me feels like she was singing to Jesus himself, saying, Jesus loves me. I'm in this tunnel and I see the light now. Sun, the light is here. I have reached my transcendental state. Neptune just finished going through Aquarius, entered Pisces. Chiron is on her ascendant. This is a full circle, guys. We don't know what happened in that room, but I have a feeling that whether she was still fighting to find that wholeness, or she did find it and then she just checked out. But Hotel California, isn't it? Did she leave? Or did she just check out? Black Moon Lilith on her moon. The moon is the feelings. It's all about the feelings with Whitney. She was born to feel, not to do things, but to feel things. And with the sometimes you're not feeling anything anymore because all you really need to do is just that one thing. And it's repetitive and the cycle keeps spinning. And then you stop feeling eventually. But you do it because you want to feel. So you see how it is just so tipsy-turvy. Saturn in the sky on top of her Lilith. The book is closing. I know in my world, Whitney is that soul soother for me. Her voice, her legacy, her dignity. Oh boy, there is dignity there. For sure. Exalted Saturn in the last degree on top of her Black Moon Lilith, that asteroid that tests us, right? Like a poison to see if you can metabolize it and get rid of the toxins. Her body didn't have any capacity to metabolize. But I feel something in my heart is telling me that it was more about the physical aspect than it was about the spiritual aspect, because I feel like she did see that light at the end of the tunnel, and on the day of her last day, that's when it happened. And interesting how all of this is still in conjunct that North Node in Cancer. She could have almost done it, I feel, with this Chiron on her ascendant. It's not the most pleasant transit, but I feel like she could have really, 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 really stopped. There was peace in her heart that day. With the moon on top of her Juno, reminiscing about relationships. But yeah, again, that self-criticism. Self-criticism is what propelled Whitney Houston to her last day. That came too soon. I appreciate your time, your comments, and if you haven't done so, please share this video with someone who needs this, who would be interested, and don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button and notification bell. Enjoy having you here, enjoy recording these videos. There will be more videos coming soon. Many, many, many thanks for your kind presence. Just love it. I love it. I love you. I love astrology. I love Whitney. And I'm wishing you a wonderful rest of your day or night.